he gotta go.
But think about
But if I'm out in public and if Miko is a fool to me, and I say, oh, let me be a fool back to him, I'm smart enough. I'm almost 30. I done seen what niggas done did that make those reactions produce. If I be like, man, I ain't got no reason in being around this fool. I need to remove myself. Not even if he punched me, that's a self-defense thing. But if Miko disrespect me verbally,
right,
I'm not gonna rationalize with him. Now if he do something that if I step on his foot, my bad. Nigga, what you mean? Now I'm like, all right, let me get away from this fool.
Yeah.
But
Mark, at the same time, before you get too far away from that, you said if he punch you, it becomes a self-defense thing. Once again, you putting that in the hands of a man of the justice system that's not
right. But we also talking about. When I say that, I'm saying my mind is getting away from this. So I'm not going. If I'm in the corner, I your back against the corner, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm gonna follow.
If the door is closed,
bro.
Hold on.
Right here, I got the marks to prove it, man. 25 stitches because I used to be that guy.
Well, hold on. Before you dive into that, I want to get to the because we are getting on a great point that the point of the conversation where it's time for us to give advice to black mothers raising black boys and give advice to young black boys growing up how to deal with bullying. Either when you're on the recipient end of being bullied or when you are the bully. When you are the one that's out there causing pain and harm.
Let's be honest. It's a lot of people that's bullying that think that, like, a lot of parents got some bully ass kids. And they think that their kid getting bullied. No, they think their kid getting bullied.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard. Like, if I was raised with a smart mouth, and I didn't realize that I had a smart mouth until I got bullied. So that was really my defense mechanism, where I'm like, all right, something gotta give. I'm smarter than this nigga. And so what's gonna happen is he gonna try to bully me. I'm gonna put the spotlight on it. And why the spotlight there? Let me make sure he know he's stupid. So now I look like the bully because he was ready to physically torment me. And then at the time it happened, it was two kids. Really ready to physically torment me. And then my defense mechanism was
jokes.
Put a spotlight on it first. And then I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and... Hey, man, read out loud.
I gotta beat him up now. I gotta get this.
No. It's how it was.
I gotta get this road, bro.
Let me break down how
in class.
You gotta break down how the class like it's an understanding. I'm like, oh, I gotta go into this class with these niggas. So there's two of them. They pick on me. My ears small, so they bust out with like dumbass shit.
You got small ears.
I do. And look, that was a joke. Like you meet somebody, man, that shit the joke, and everybody bust out laughing. But these was two kids. One of them name was Jairus, the other one was Leslie. And so
Leslie, he went ready from the classroom.
Right. So that's what it transitioned to. Okay. I was like, I got tired of it. I got fed up with really two niggas just targeting me because I was real small at the time. And so I was like, all right, what can I do? All right. So one day I was like, I know I'm gonna catch it anyway. So I might as well. I know after class the niggas gonna try to torment me walking home. All right, let's put the highlight on. Cool. Hey, Leslie. Somebody said something about Leslie. I was like, that's my auntie name. And Jairus,
I know that triggered him, bro.
And Jairus couldn't read out loud. Cool, let's do it. Anybody want to read? Jairus?
I don't want to.
So now we get into.
Bro, I gotta fight Martin, bro. I gotta fight.
Right. You was wanting to fight me anyway, right? You was another reason.
Right.
You was wanting to fight me to establish your dominance.
Oh God.
And I was the target, and I was quiet back then too. So you wanted to fight me anyway. I'm like, fuck this, because my brother. It was that 1 year my brother and I. We 1 year apart, so we would always be in school together.
Oh.
But it was that year when I was in elementary school and he went to middle school.
He went around.
Right. So I was like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna catch it anyway. The punches ain't gonna hurt more.
Yeah.
So let's do it. You wanna? You gonna be to the point where it started being overt, and I started getting more sly with it. I was like, all right, nigga walked past me. Like I was also in karate at the time, so nigga started feeling himself. I trip him up. Like he doing outbursts now. I like, damn, ain't nobody asked you to read. So that was
I'm fighting.
Okay, I got to.
That's the development of me going from the offensive to the defense, and this all happened in one school year.
Yeah. So are you suggesting young boys to develop?
No, I'm saying a lot of motherfuckers. You always got to figure out what's going to get you through one stage of life to the next when you're young. You can't really dictate. Oftentimes, especially growing up in poverty, your parents can't just pick you up and go to another school, a better school, or something that's more functional. You just got to maneuver your way through. So when it comes to parenting, as a parent, you got to listen to your kids and try not to just listen, but go out of your way to build a rapport where they can tell you shit. Because it ain't if you know your dad gonna call you a punk or your mom gonna call you a punk or something, you ain't gonna say nothing to him.
Yeah.
So that's where you get into the insecurities, and now your kid got to do whatever they can to skip school, to dodge this class, and they got 30 absences in one class. 30 absences in one class, and now he going to all this.
Hey, damn, she ain't been in reading class.
Now you thinking he's just a goddamn idiot because he don't know history.
Right.
And that's because parents is not in tune, like you said, with what's going on with their kids. But hey, let's go back, and this may go against what I'm saying, but I grew up with poor, you know. Well, so I grew up with, and they don't have them now. I used to get my sneakers from the grocery store.
Well, it's special kind of poor.
Yeah, you gotta catch all. You can go get it from Kroger. That Kroger got everything.
They used to cut, the shoes used to be in a basket, and they used to be had a little zip tie thing.
So this is the first Walmart. All right.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
But it was a regular grocery store and had about that much rubber on the bottom of it. And so naturally, and then I was the youngest of three boys, so I wore hand-me-downs.
Oh yeah.
But so my mechanism was I was always the class clown.
Right.
I was always the class clown, but then I wasn't afraid to fight. And so when people talk to me,
but was you always like the biggest in the class? Oh, okay.
But I used to get my ass whipped every day by my big brother.
Oh, okay.
So I tell you,
developed a tolerance to it.
Yeah, I said people who never got beat up before. To me, I know I'm gonna beat them because they don't know how to lose. Yeah. So
look at the mentality that you got to develop as a kid. That's crazy.
That's the same thing with bullying, man. And I think that's what made me a better man and made me a tougher man. Is that what we got to teach our kids, that, you know, and people we was raised off of sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And then
they lied to us, boy. But
words cannot hurt you.
No, but you talking about that's a discrepancy. That's a lot.
Why do you think Darren want to be his ass?
It's Jared with a J. But you gotta understand, when we say stuff like that, that ain't true. If I called my son to here right now and said, Max, get your dumb ass over here, that shit is gonna break him.
Yeah.
And when we talk about perceptionally silly shit like cyberbullying, and like I've seen a comedian say, just fucking log out. Yeah. And that's true, but it carries over into a part of insecurity where you want to be needed. You need that. You got a desire to feel
human nature.
Right. Yeah. But, and you might not want it from the bully, but you also don't want everybody to think that you at the bottom of the food chain for them.
Right.
You don't want as a boy, you don't want women to see you as weaker than them.
Especially as a high school boy.
Right.
You're like, boy, I gotta try.
And it was funny. And people always would tell me like, man, your mouth will get you in trouble. Because I transitioned from being on the defense to kind of moving towards, I was class clown.
So you became a bully.
Yeah. If you open that door, I would just like, if I hear somebody talking shit.
No, hold on. If somebody talks shit to you one day.
Right.
You go in their ass for the rest of the semester.
Don't open this door.
Exactly.
That's
a bully. That's a goddamn bully.
Don't open. No. A bully. It's a bully.
But that kid, like your kids, you don't know.
That's cool. But don't come at me as I'm not. It's not like I'm walking around bullying kids now. But if I'm a kid and I see dude coming down the hallway and he tried to have it out for me one time, I'm be like, oh, like that. He's trying to be that person that every time he come around me, he gonna feel like establishing his dominance. I was not no tough kid or nothing like that. Even in high school, I rolled with like about 8 people. Yeah. And they would always say, man, your mouth gonna get you in trouble. more often than if I had to fight or something, it might have been my friends. Because I'm going to say reckless shit to them. But more often in school, it was always one of my other friends that was doing some other shit. Because even if it was a nigga as big as you.
But fellas, y'all got to understand, man, the thing that, and I wish we can teach this, my brother Tim. My mama, and even to this day, my mama used to get on Tim all the time. Because Tim would wear a pair of shoes till it was one lace left in them. Right?
Yeah.
Tim was just that type of person. And if you talk to my brother Tim now, he'll tell you that his strength is ignoring people. If we can get to the point where what people say about us, if you're not, and I'm almost, it's one person that controls what I say and do. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it, I ain't Impact, but I got chicken house ways. There's a difference.
You got what kind of country shit is this?
You got chicken in the house?
No, chicken house ways.
What the hell is that?
What, coward ways?
No, what they say, like, back in the day, they say, oh, they're joking Impact.
No, ain't nobody.
Y'all don't know what Impact is.
Oh, no, we don't know what Impact is.
You ain't never heard your turkey back then.
No, brother, y'all really don't know what Impact is.
No.
But
you saying that before
when a man like used to tell him what to do, they call him Impact.
Okay, like
because a chicken hen, a a rooster is male, a hen is
gotcha.
And
it's
so,
still country.
That's a real
country than I am western, bro. So I ain't grew up in the swamp,
You used to own Purdue chicken, like what?
So what I used to tell people, my father-in-law, God rest his dead, he just passed 2 weeks ago. And father-in-law used to say, hey Melvin, he said, you ain't Impact, bro, but you sure got chicken house ways.
Gotcha.
So what he's saying
is, so when your wife ever want something done or yell about something, you buckle.
I buckle and do it because I'm Impact.
Yeah.
I'm ran by my wife. Yeah. And so it's kind of like.
So he do all that talking, all that advocating, but he don't. I'm Impact.
We about to have our first death on the show, man.
I'm Impact.
Don't die.
So you do all the advocating, but when it comes to actually being about that life,
it'd be like, hey,
if your wife say no,
you say no, and be like, yes, dear. No, dear.
So I gotta say this. So growing up all my life, I've never been in an actual fight. You know what I'm saying? My whole thing was
I will whip your ass, man.
I mean, whip my ass.
He's saying right now.
Tell you how big is he got me by like 50 pounds.
Hold on.
But I feel like that one punch, when he feel it, he gonna be like, oh shit, that's how that
That's when you started training the box.
Right.
Then he gonna start being like, oh man, that really hurt. And for me, when he hit me, I would just be like, I knew how this was gonna feel. And then because fighting ain't fair, so I do stuff like I scratch, I gouge, I bite, I don't care. And then when I get me a V, bro,
he's like, get me a V. Yo, but
I'm grabbing nuts and twisting them, just to be like, get over the hey man, just hey.
You out there like Cat Williams. That's that Impact on him.
But that's why I took up boxing as an adult. So make sure that whenever I come across these situations, I know how to handle myself.
Make sure that size matches your ability.
Oh yeah, and in boxing, I wasn't just training. I was in there sparring too, so I got my ass tore up most of the time.
With the little foam helmet on.
I got knocked out before though.
Oh
yeah, I was knocked out cold. Oh my god,
you don't remember that punch, do you? You don't remember that punch, do you?
I remember seeing it, but I remember feeling it, and that came up. Boom!
That nigga thought he was Michael B. Jordan. That nigga thought it was Creed.
He knocked my ass out. But it teaches you that tolerance to bounce back and develop. So boxing was great for me. But growing up, I always thought this is why I didn't fight. I never fought because I was scared.
The biggest nigga around.
Right? I usually was the biggest dude, but I never fought because one, I was always like, I'm the biggest kid, so I'm probably get the most trouble. Two, I'm like, why is y'all just fighting and throwing blows? If I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna fight you to nearly kill you, and I'm going in your pockets. Like I'm gonna steal from you. Like I'm going to your like I'm like, bro, you coming off that chain, you coming off of your pocket, whatever money you got,
and you sneakers at the same time.
I'm taking your shit. Like ain't no way in hell I'm just gonna beat your. No, I'm taking your shit. Like, I'm going for the gusto. So, me knowing how extreme I'm going to go with it, it's dangerous.
He don't fight broke niggas.
Nah. I'm going to go. I'm telling you, I'm going to go.
I already got them.
Right. I know I'm going to go to level 10 immediately. And I'm going to do the worst shit. But so I always thought as a kid, since I don't want to do that, because I don't want to have my mom come to pick me up at the juvenile and shit like that. Because growing up in Forest Park, that was another thing. If you got...
Roswell.
Shut up, fool. I went to Forest Park Middle School. Forest Park Middle School, if you got... And this is different between black communities and white schools. In black schools, I learned, if you got suspended twice, they would take you to a place, I forgot the term for it now, but basically you go sit in juvenile.
In school suspension.
Right, in school suspension. But your day, it ain't in school, you're going to be in juvenile facility. Yeah. But you go to white school, in school suspension, you're just going to be sitting in the room all day.
Yeah. With the gym teacher.
Right. Yeah. And it was the craziest thing to me. So I always feared that. But growing up, what I developed to get around not having to fight dudes was to always give respect.
Speaking of respect, it looked like a painter sneezed on your shirt.
Oh, man. Speaking of respect, I ain't got nothing to do with that respect.
But no,
real bad.
But niggas just with the brush.
Hey, and then it looked like it was like a real nice shirt from Myrtle Beach or something. And then all of a sudden it just ruined.
Hilarious. But that's what the thing. And I ran into jokesters. I ran into the hard guys. I ran into them all. My whole thing would be like, if I just initiate, I got respect for this dude, so I'm not gonna clown too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna cower around him, but I'm gonna just be cool and I just give him respect. When everybody will pick on the dude, I ain't picking on the dude.
Right.
When everybody will crack jokes on the dude, yeah, I crack a little jokes, but to a certain extent.
But that's the awareness you gotta have. That's where it's not bullying and things like that. But we didn't even really talk about the bully. We did talk about
but most bullies is bullies because of the simple fact that insecurities. Insecurities.
Our bullies were bummy as fuck.
It's something
they were big and strong and bummy as fuck.
Bullies, nigga.
When you look at insecurities, I mean, in every topic that we're gonna discuss for the next couple of weeks, man, insecurity is gonna fall into that.
Yeah.
White people don't like black people because they insecure. You know.
Right.
White people don't want to bring us down because they insecure.
Fact.
Racism comes from insecurity.
Right. That's a fact.
You know, bullying
come
from insecurity.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you start, that's why I'm saying mind over matter, man. If a
but you can't. I feel like it's dangerous.
You can't tell my 6-year-old that this is mind over matter.
Well, no.
Because you got.
Well, not just that, but I don't want
behavior.
But I don't want to teach the young. I don't think it's smart to teach, especially young black boys, that you gotta always think to run from challenges, because that's what that mentality also says. No. It says when shit get too hard or too tough or too hot, turn tail and get out of there, because you're the lesser.
This is what I taught my kids, right?
All right.
I told my kids, I said, the first thing you got to ask yourself in any battle, first question you got to ask yourself, can I win? Right? Because can I win? And then the next question you got yourself, how much is the win going to cost me?
I was just thinking about that.
You know, how much is this win going to cost me? So if, you know, because I say that like I tell anybody, you know, I think I can handle my own with the average man. I know I can, you know, but I had to ask myself, what is going to be, is me fighting Mark? What am I going to gain out of fighting Mark?
Oh, that's a losing battle.
Yeah, Mark is a cool dude. Mark, hey, even if I beat Mark, what am I gaining?
To death.
You say
beat Mark to death.
Like I said,
I got to wear a cup fighting this nigga. Take my nuts, nigga. That nigga grab that ball.
Look at me, you grab my ball still.
You know, because if I fight you and I win, what did I win?
Right. Nothing.
Do you get it afterwards? You like, hey man,
another
like
person.
In the olden days, like, hey man, you won, so hey, my wife, she already in there on the bed waiting on you.
Hey,
you know,
yeah.
You
lose your.
Like I said, you win the booty. You know.
I ain't know that.
Damn. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So back in the day, you know, the winner, you know, you win a purse.
Yeah.
So the purse is like, hey man, you beat me, so hey man, here's the keys to my house. You know, I'm getting ready to go down here on Peachtree, man. I need I-20. I'm one of them tents. I need that because
it's doing down here, baby.
But I'm going and I'm doing some push-ups, and I'm gonna be back next week.
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm winning. So any battle that if you can, at 6 years old, you can believe it or not, it's a learned behavior that you can tell them.
It is.
That
but
me going out here, if Joe Snuffy come up to me and say, "Oh, you got on raggedy shoes," and that affect my personality. Because it go, which I forget what I said earlier. Once you realize who you are, nobody can tell you who you are. So
it's different. When
adults even still deal with that.
They do,
but even on social
it's
media.
different when we talk about adults. If you wanted to leave this environment right now, you could. You got your keys. You're gonna get up. You're gonna drive, and you ain't never got to be back here again. If you got that type of work environment, you can go talk to your boss.
He loves getting ultimatums.
No. But you had it. But when we talk about my son who got to go to school every day, and is he gonna run home every day because he know at 3:30 where the bully gonna be waiting on him at?
Right.
Those are situations where you can't tell that kid.
Because you're a man, you got some sense of pride.
No. I ain't even injecting that yet.
bro.
I'm saying that if as a kid, them bullies gonna be there regardless. And they know that your fear is going to keep them in a place where every day.
Your fears, they strength, though, bro.
Right.
Your fears, they strength.
So they gotta face that fear, right?
So let's put money on it. Let's say you got a kid, your kid getting bullied for his lunch money, old school. So every day, what are you telling your kid? Because that's a situation. That's an actual scenario that happens. What do you tell your kid if the bully wants this lunch money? Are you gonna say it ain't worth fighting? Just give him your lunch money and keep going.
So if he fighting and gets his ass whipped already. So
who, your kid?
I told the little kid.
The little kid. I mean,
So
you already saying they feel like if they already got in their mindset. I mean, you telling him go there and fight. Now he getting his ass whipped.
So he fought Miko because that nigga Miko gonna run the pocket for
I'm running the pocket.
Like, I'm gonna take your money anyhow. So what do you got to do?
Mama gotta give up the bread.
No, I'm
so
telling
he
you,
coming
bro.
home hungry.
Yeah, he
the little niglet baby coming home hungry. And you want to know why he wants cereal as soon as he gets home.
But that's why you have to teach him who you are. And I'm trying to, and my youngest daughter, you know, because my other, you know.
But your kids are grown. We talking about like kids in school right now.
Kids is in school now. Like if I had the chance to do it all over again, I would teach my kids the kingdom mentality. I would constantly breathe in their head that like, you're not better than the next person, but you come from royalty. You come from, tell them who their heritage is.
Everybody don't come from royalty. It was some niggas
Some
top of the pyramid.
It was some of them jokers.
I think mine was on the bottom. Like
that's what I tell you.
Some of them went, hey.
What's these?
He heard us talking about it. So but here's the deal, right? Now, how would I handle that, right? So, if I got a kid that's being bullied for his lunch money every day, and first of all, you got to develop those lines of communication. And you got to develop those lines of communication with your kids where they know at any given time they're not going to be reprimanded for what they say. Okay? So when your kid comes in and say, hey, look, Pop, Miko, every day I go to school, you can tell his mama don't feed him because he's fat, overweight. And the reason why he got that way because he be eating everybody's food.
Yeah.
Right? So then you say to him like, hey, look, dude. You come from a 2-parent home, and even if you don't, say, hey, listen.
So I get what you're saying, pour into that kid. But what is that kid gonna do about the bully at the school?
It's avoidance.
He can't avoid the bully forever, though. The bully gonna show up to reading class. He gonna show up to his writing class.
And so it goes to it. Hear me out.
Because the bully gonna be like, oh, I know I got him now because I know. Like you said,
So it's now you got to be mental, like Mark said. You got to be mentally superior over him. And so when he come up to you and say like, hey man, give me your lunch money. Nah, Brian, give me my lunch money. Okay.
And you're going to have to live that. That's that time.
And then he's going to say, well, you know, I'm going to whip your ass after school. Well, hey, that's what it's going to come to is after school.
Do you think that kid should defend himself too?
Can I finish the scenario? Because this is how, because what did I say about bullies? and about everything we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks. Insecurities. Yeah. So soon when the first person find him, it goes back to what we was talking about. So you don't think that bully going to want to whoop his ass after school, take them? Because all of a sudden somebody challenged him.
Right. All right. That's
all
cool.
of a sudden somebody. So
that's a cool movie subject.
No, Brad, but I'm telling you, it's
going to work. It ain't always the case.
Because it's all of a sudden the reason why the job I'm on right now, the reason why them jokers call me and do loads nobody else won't do is because they're gonna take human nature gonna cause us to take the path of least resistance. Yeah. Okay, so that means that bully then chose your child as the path of least resistance. Right. So now all of a sudden your kids say, listen, man, hey, you didn't get my lunch money. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get your lunch money, I'm gonna whip your ass. Well, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do just like them white folks do them. My daddy told me to go to the authorities on your ass. And then he gonna say like, hey, you go to them, I'm gonna whip your ass. And then he gonna be like, well, okay, even if you whip my ass, you're gonna whip my ass from another school because once I go to the authority about bullying.
That's smart mouth. That's a smart mouth, man.
Look, kid, like, you can't do shit. My daddy said, you know, the principal and the superintendent, you out of here.
Yeah, and the reason why is because we teaching our kids let's use the tools that's available to us. Right. Teach your kids to use the tools that's available to them.
Now you gotta get. That's where we talk about what happened. It's multiple things that gotta happen.
That's so interesting that she said that because you say, and it's not wrong what you're saying about using resources. And I know you about to go because it's like. Kids also like
he can read your mind.
Well, no, it's the kids got he ain't got no hair. I don't see his thoughts. I see. But the streets, the kids is abiding by street culture too. So well, like you gonna be a snitch as a little kid.
Hey, just like Earthquake said, man. All shout out to my boy Earthquake. Don't know you, bro, but hey, man, I am not responsible for that. I don't have the copyright on what Earthquake said. But hey, what Earthquake said, where the streets at now? We always talking about the streets, this, the streets that, and the streets gonna handle their business, the street code. But then soon when something that the streets should handle, like you go out here and some 18-year-old guy go out here and rape a 14-year-old girl. Back in the day, the streets would have handled that.
That's true.
The neighborhood would have handled that. But now that neighborhood be like, oh no, I ain't messing with Debo because just because he raped her, he may turn me over and rape me too. And so they scared of the streets, but the streets ain't shit. So stop teaching your kids the street codes because they ain't part of the street codes.
Nobody really teaching their kids the street
codes. Shit, what?
The streets are teaching them.
You crazy in this house too.
Yeah, where you tripping?
You know what? Hey, you need to go there to learn.
You need to go outside real quick.
Hey, they teaching them kids that every day. Oh, you don't tell on nobody.
Right.
Parents teaching their kids.
Parents is teaching that. Hey, if somebody gets you, don't you be going to hey. Yeah. Ain't nobody gonna
come
bully.
To me. Don't go to nobody else.
Ain't nobody gonna bully Tyrod. Tyrod is the toughest kid in the school, so ain't nobody gonna Tyrod. Just like you said earlier, Tyrod, come on, mommy, Miko stole my lunch money. Get in there and pull your pants down. I'm gonna whip your ass. I'm gonna teach you how to be tough.
Oh no, my mom made me go fight that nigga.
See what I'm saying? That's the same thing. That's what.
So when you say street code, I'm thinking like snitching and stuff.
No,
like that.
The street code is telling you
go make an irresponsible ass decision.
Yeah, what you supposed to do is, hey, he taking your lunch money. My son ain't gonna be the little punk on the street.
Right.
You go back and kick his ass.
Right. I stand corrected. But what I was gonna say was not what you said. It was gonna say I was saying for what we talking about.
Read out loud.
For what we talking about. For what we talking about to happen, what we need to do is make sure the communication is there, so that I can go talk to OG.
Stole my words.
I have to go to be able to say, "Oh, my dad gonna get you kicked out of school." I got to be able to have that conversation with my dad and be able to make sure my dad ain't living by no street code. Because if he living by the street code, that the conversation gonna be like, "Oh, he took your money. It's time to go beat his ass."
Yeah, and then tell his daddy to show up too.
Right. Hold on. What that? Y'all seen the video? It was a video. This woman said she came in. She said it was a black woman talking to a whole class, and I'm surprised the teacher let it happen. She said, "Y'all keep bullying my daughter."
Oh, yeah.
So you can tell your mama to come and catch these hands.
Right.
I said, where Bay at?
But that's street culture, though.
That definitely is.
But, sorry, so in closing...
I don't know how that shit right.
Give you a quick example.
That kid got
Leroy age, and if Leroy looking at this, Leroy, you remember this. I was trying to show off in front of Sabrina Everett, and she probably gonna look at this. And me, Sabrina, and her sister Twila, and Leroy was walking home.
Yeah.
As usual, me picking at Leroy. And so Leroy is walking up in front of us with Twila. So I was like, watch this. So I picked up a rock and I threw it, hit Leroy in the back of the head with
the bully right here.
A boulder. That nigga whole hand.
Motherfucker buy shoes at the grocery store, got that bullet.
He whipped the shit out of me.
Oh, word?
Now Leroy
in front of Twila
in front of Twila and Sabrina.
Oh man.
And I went home and I was steaming. So I said, I'm going home and I'm gonna get my daddy gun and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna shoot Leroy. I was in the 6th grade.
Who the bully?
Right. Yeah. I got my ass whipped and I couldn't take that. I got my ass
I couldn't take that ass off.
I got and Sabrina ain't never go out with me. Never.
What?
To the man, yeah.
And he beat you that bad?
She went to go out. I remember I was that guy with hand-me-down clothes.
Oh, okay.
Sabrina was, she was diggity back in the day.
Gotcha.
So I go home, didn't know my daddy was in the house. Yeah. So I go in the back door and still, and it was there. It was like, what's wrong with you? Man, he's like, hey, so okay, well, I'm gonna take you back here and we're gonna fix this. So we hop in the little Plymouth Satellite. Mm-hmm. Right around the corner, Leroy walking and he by himself. Leroy probably about an inch shorter than me then. Now Leroy like 6'5".
Oh, okay.
But I still should have handled my business. It looked at me, he was like, that's who whipped your ass? I was like, He turned around, man, had a car on 2 wheels. But got back to the house. He said, I'm gonna whip your ass from you getting your ass whipped.
Dang.
See, that's different. That's different.
That's fucked up, though.
But
I've heard that.
But that's
trauma.
So if Leroy was a big nigga, he would have been like, all right, round 2.
No, I think in my dad mindset, because my dad was always that type of person that taught violence. He was a violent dude. Mm-hmm. He was the type, he used to hit my mom, man. It used to come home and beat everybody in the house, dude, for no reason whatsoever. Damn. It was just that type of joker that he'd come.
How many kids you had?
3.
Y'all,
all boys.
Y'all never got to the age was like, all right.
Yeah, I did. When I was 17 years old, Ip came over there and raised his voice at my mom. And I went to his mama's house and I told my grandmother, I said, listen, he come back over to my mama's house again, I'm gonna kill him.
You snitching, okay.
No,
you said you was gonna kill him?
I was gonna kill him. I had it in my mind, like,
I feel like I've heard this story a lot of times from guys like around your age.
No, you just get to the point, man. Where you just,
I was too. I was the same way.
And so my grandmother sat my father down, and she said, you know what? You got 3 boys. She said, I don't know about them other 2. Mm-hmm. She said, but that one right there, because my grandmother was a Martin, and all her brothers was crazy. Oh. She said, that boy right there, he all Martin. Oh, she said, you go back over there again, whatever happened to you is on you. I ain't never had no more problems with my dad.
Fam, I swear I just heard this story from an older guy who said, if you put your hands on my mom, I'm gonna kill you.
Terry Crews too.
Right. That's so interesting to me. It brings to the point for me. My dad didn't live with her. I ain't never had no encounter like that. So it's like, all right, well, the absence of that.
You never had no abusive man in the household?
It was one nigga that put his hands on my mom, but it was after me and my brother came here to move. So but he was a little petite dude. I would have fucked him up in 7th grade. Like, me and my brother would have beat his ass. And he had a cute ass daughter. And she was weird.
My mom used to get her ass beat.
But that's how it goes back to what we got to teach our kids is like, hey, use the tools that's placed in front of you. If now that we're gonna always be a part of white society. Mm-hmm. So let's use that to our advantage. Teach your kid, okay, you being bullied, Miko keep taking your lunch money. So hey, front Miko right in front of the lunchroom. Hey, let me have your lunch money. Hey, Miss
That's all it really do take. Though.
Hey, Miss Pansy, Miss Johnson. Hey, Miko over here trying to take my lunch money.
I would have thought about it because I used to snitch like that in like elementary school. That shit never worked because it's always a he say versus he say, and I gotta see you. Now, for me, you got his hand in your pocket and you caught like that. That's one thing. You be like, hey, let me get your lunch money. Go and get it. Y'all see this, right? That's different. It never happens like that.
So I'm gonna say, in closing thoughts, I want to go everybody for closing thoughts on the subject because we got this has been great. My closing thought is: one, parents must seek out parental training, especially in the areas that concern you the most. So if your children having issues with bullies, seek out a person who trains parents on how to teach their children how to deal with bullies. Most important, read books on that stuff. Watch YouTube videos from experts on that stuff. That's my number one advice for that. But in closing thoughts, I think that it's best for a single mom who has a child who's dealing with bullies or is a bully. I love what you said about creating that culture of open communication. Of open communication, because when you're able to openly communicate, they can come to you about things with school. Because I've seen kids even growing up in school where they weren't able to take their issues home with their parents, so they self-destruct, and that self-destruction also often explodes, and they end up cutting the kid or doing something to put themselves in even more danger. So that's my advice: is talk to experts about it, and also at the same time have a culture of open communication with your kid to know what's the best decision to take from it. What would you think about it? What are your closing thoughts?
So I just add that, and then on top of that, I always tell women, especially if you're a single mom, find a positive male role model, because this like we ain't supposed to do this by ourselves. And if you don't have a healthy partner that you can do that with, put your kid in things that's gonna build his esteem up, build his self-confidence up, and make sure men are involved in those things. Because men can directly say, healthy men, they can directly say, oh, this is what I've experienced, I've gone through this, not this is how you're supposed to be, which often comes from a teacher or something like that in school settings. So you got to put that kid, I don't care if you're taking them to the barbershop for lineups twice a week. I don't care if you know what I'm saying, just put them somewhere where they can get male perspective and male influence. Oftentimes that's sports and things like that. But put them in those type of environments, and also make sure that they got a healthy relationship with other kids as well, because when you do have that healthy relationship, if you a kid and you getting bullied, I do think if I was a loner in high school, I would have had a better chance in getting bullied. But I'm hanging around with 8 guys on a daily basis. And some of them half of them upperclassmen, but in reality, it's about 5 or 6 of us that's in our same grade, and we around each other all the time. Ain't no bully one-on-one running up on 6 dudes. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure your kid got a healthy social dynamic, but also that relationship with them and that relationship with other men and male figures. It also helps.
And then, you know, boss man?
Listen, henpeck. Write that down, y'all younger generation.
Shout out to Leroy. Like every time you say some foul shit, I'm going to call Leroy, y'all.
Leroy, my boy, man.